big changes could be coming to New York City housing, which could affect your home, your neighborhood, and your big next investment. Michelle Nicolo, you know where to find me. Today, we're talking about the City of Yes with Sal Calcagno. Today, I'm here with Sal Calcagno, a real estate attorney who is going to dive into those most asked questions about the City of Yes. Hi, Sal. How are you?
Morning, Michelle.
Thank you for having us. So for the listeners who are not aware yet, what is the initiative of the City of Yes?
So the City of Yes is a law that was pushed through by Mayor Adams' administration back in December of last year. The law proposed to basically add additional housing units all across New York City by modifying the zoning requirements and modifying a number of accessory requirements that come along with what allows people for certain uses within certain neighborhoods. The challenge that comes along with that is that it changes everything of what is currently in place, including parking requirements, how many units can fall within certain neighborhoods, how many units can fall within certain streets, along with other various factors.
Okay, so how does this affect single-family residences and two-family residences here in New York City?
So with respect to single families and two-family homes, the existing usages are still currently, those are law. Those aren't changing. What is changing is that the city is also granting the accessibility to these homeowners to potentially add units that are what we refer to as accessory dwelling units to these properties.
So this is very exciting for these single-family and two-family residences because they ask me often, what is an accessory dwelling unit?
So an accessory dwelling unit is effectively an additional unit that is exactly what it is. It's in the name, accessory to the property owner. It could end up being an additional basement unit that is there for an additional family member to stay within the household. It could end up being almost a micro unit or a backyard cottage or a conversion of a garage, or it could be an attic as well.
Or a garage? Is a garage also added as well?
It is always possible. It all depends on zoning, on the building code, which is the most important part here. We still have to comply with basic core principles between safety and as well as all the utility connections, as well as, again, effectively making sure that this is going to be a safe constructed unit as opposed to something that we're going to slap up there and then hope that we're going to be able to rent.
So I get asked this very often with investors and people who are buying their single family or two family home. Is that basement going to be an accessory dwelling unit? What is the time frame of that? What do they need to do? How do I answer this question?
There is no straight answer on this right now. Unfortunately, even though a law was passed back in December of 24, we are just coming online right now with the city allowing for certain applications to be put in place to allow for these accessory dwelling units. The city is still catching up. They still have to provide for the templates of what would be required, means of ingress and egress for making sure, God forbid, any type of situation would ever present itself for an event of an emergency of getting access to the unit, making sure that anyone who's inhabiting the property can make sure that they can get out safely. These are all different myriad of factors, but the city is now taking applications to allow for these to be legalized.
So basically, they're taking the applications, the building department is starting to take these applications for these accessory dwelling units, but we don't yet know the time frame, correct?
We're really not sure on the timeline right now. It's still open for interpretation, but we're hoping that the city is going to move pretty quick with this to go with the goal of getting more units.
Perfect. Okay, so with the City of Yes and these applications that are being submitted, and if everything goes through, will this change the character and the zoning of some of these residencies?
So I don't know how fast. Everything comes in waves. Everything will come in time. It will change aspects of the communities where we always talked about certain minimum sizes. Those sizes have now become a little bit smaller. So builders who were looking for 40 by 100 lots, they would fit in one house. Now they could look for a 60 by 100 house and fit two houses.
With this new.
Correct. So the zoning lots themselves have changed. The unit sizes will change as well.
So the density is going to change in the neighborhood. So the character will, effectively.
Inevitably, we are going to see some type of change, especially, I won't say necessarily over the next year, but I would say over the next 5 years to the next 10 years, characters of communities are certainly going to change as a result.
So I get phone calls all the time from my investors when they're looking at properties or their own past business properties that they have. And they say, Michelle, will the value increase? Is it time to sell it? Or later on, will it increase in value? What are your thoughts?
So everything is possible. Right now, no one knows what is going to be officially approved versus what may not be approved. What will be the necessary size? What could end up being a minimum size of what would be required? People who want to add 1,000 square feet of an apartment as an additional unit, I don't think the city is going to end up fighting you on that because, again, that's a nice size apartment within the confines and what the goal of the law ends up speaking to. As far as the values of where exactly these properties are, until the city gives that stamp, I'm guarding and advising all of my clients to be very, very careful and make sure that they speak with their architect, make sure they speak with their engineers.
Before they make that purchase.
They have to get a real good understanding because right now we are still in this state of flux about whether or not the city is going to pivot in one direction or the other. And at the same time, it still has to go through the local channels. It still has to go through the local Staten Island Department of Buildings, along with whether or not the community itself can generate that. And when I say about generate, do the utilities end up having sufficient service to justify adding those units as well? And that will become a problem because we're going to run into a stalemate about whether or not the city is going to improve those at a certain point too.
Correct. So thank you, Sal Calcagno, real estate attorney, for sitting with us today discussing the City of Yes. And as an attorney, what is your takeaway advice to the public, to your clients, and to any listeners today on the City of Yes?
With anything and everything, you have to do your homework. You have to make sure you build who your teammates are going to be. Ask the questions to an attorney. Ask the questions to your real estate brokers. You want to make sure that you have a full understanding about anything and everything because this is potentially one of the most important investments of your life. You want to know what you have in, you want to know what you're going to get out of it, and make sure that, again, you stay fully informed throughout the entire process.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you.